So I've had this bike for 4 weeks now, around the 1 month mark, so I thought what better time to do a negative video on all the things I don't like about the bike than right now. So this video is all negativity. I'm a total negative Nancy in this video, so if your feelings are easily hurt on the 899, it's probably best that you skip this video and move to another one, because I'm going to be laying the smack down on this bike. I can only find 3 things though that I don't like on this bike, and let's start with number 1. The first thing I noticed riding this bike is the side mirrors. Super sport bikes don't have the best side mirrors to begin with, and this bike's no exception. But what really ruffled my feathers when I consulted the manual was when you try and adjust them, you have to put your disgusting greasy chip fingers all over the mirrors themselves. That's the only way you can adjust them, is to put your finger and lower it down or lower it up, and or move it up, not lower it up. And if all you can see is your body and your torso and your arms, which is all I can see, you're just seeing your upper arms and your lower torso when you do that, so you're not really achieving anything. Now you can get a little bit more room if you put your fingers on the side there, but yeah, you really can't see much. So how I change lanes is I make like I'm checking to see if I've used deodorant in the morning, and I lift my elbow up, and then I can see in the mirror a little bit of the road behind me, and then also I tilt my head either left or right to see if there's something either side of me, because you sure as hell aren't going to hear them on this bike, because the booming exhaust drowns out all the cars all around you, so you really need to rely on your eyes. So that's a little safety tip there. Now the second thing I don't really like on this bike is the handlebars themselves. The grips, you know, they are hard, but that doesn't really bother me, oddly enough, which I've read quite a bit about. That does bother some other riders out there. It's the diameter that gets me. Now, I am a triple XL size glove, so I'm at the upper end of the spectrum here, so this isn't going to be a problem for everyone. In fact, if you're a small glove, or a medium even, you're probably jumping up and down and cheering right now. It's probably suited to you perfectly. But for me, it's a really small diameter, and I'm just holding onto the throttle, wrapping my hands around it. After around half an hour, 40 minutes of riding, my right hand will go completely numb, and I'll have to stop and stretch it out. So I don't have wrist problems riding this bike. It's not a wrist issue at all. The riding position is really, really sweet for a super sport bike. It's mainly the diameter of the handlebars that really cripples my hands and makes them numb. Now, it's not the end of the world. You can get aftermarket grips just to increase that diameter out a little bit more. It's a little bit like when you're in school and you're swinging on the monkey bars. Do you remember, if the bars fit your hand perfectly, you can like swing from bar to bar all day long. If they're a bit big or a bit small, it hurts your hands and you can only go 1 to 2 bars. It's exactly like that. It's what it reminded me of. It's the same thing. So yeah, that's the second point. The third point, I'll just get off. Now this paint, the colour is absolutely fantastic. I just think it's the best shade of red in the entire world. But on the 899 model, it came without a clear coat. Now in 2014, selling something without a clear coat is just absolutely bananas as far as I'm concerned. What the clear coat does is it obviously protects the paint, so without it you're risking stone chip city, and it's obviously a cost cutting exercise, but it's just crazy from my point of view. So what I've done here is, if we look down, we've got the shifter here. Now your boot obviously sits around this area, around the foot peg to the shifter, so I've got a layer of clear contact over this part of the fairing just to protect that paint, because that's gonna, your boot's gonna come into contact there, and that's gonna wear out, you know, depending on how often you ride. So I've got that on either side. On the rear brake side, another little piece of clear contact over there. And every time I wash the bike, I've been putting wax and polish on it, top brands, just to, again, it adds another layer of protection on the paint. just so it lasts as long as possible and keeps it good. So yeah, it's just the 3 things I've found that I've not really liked on this bike. Now, would any of these 3 things change me buying the bike if I knew them beforehand? And the answer to that is no. The good points far outweigh the negative ones. I could only come up with 3, and that's just being as honest as possible. And again, they're not going to suit everyone, because if you were a much smaller rider than I am, they probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't have those complaints to begin with. But yeah, I thought it was worth putting it out there.